Hello again. In this video, I would like to talk about these tools which we have right at the top right corner. So um, let's start with the solid mode. If let's click on the overlays to show the overlays. You can hide or unhide the overlays, and let's press click here to open up the viewport shading. So each of these, when I click, it has their own setting. You can see the number of setting will change based on the mode you are. So we have the lighting. We can set to different. So underneath the lighting, we have a studio, matcap, and flat. You can choose whatever of these studio light perfect for you. Matcap, we have more HDRI. Then we have the flat. The flat is nothing, and it is just a flat color. Then we have the wire color. I think we need to turn it on. We can actually set it to let's turn on the wires. Okay. Then we can go and change their color from here, because it is going to recalculate around the wires. So we need to go to viewport overlays and turn on the wires first to see all the wires. Then from here we just need to select each of these. So now it is showing the objects, and we can go to material preview, but we will lose that. So this is not too useful, but there is an option which you can tweak. Okay, the next is colors. So let's turn these wires off for a second. The next is color. We can set it to each color. For example, material. It is just a single material. And object. Then we have all of these other single will be assigned which material you would like to assign. The random is, for example, if I just take a duplication by Shift-D, you can see each duplication I'm making, it will get a new variation of color. So each duplication will be a new color or material. Then the texture. In case later, if we would like to texture these using some PBR texture or so, in solid mode, if we set the color to texture, we can see that in real time in solid mode. So that's the option. Then we have the background. As you can see, currently I'm in viewport. You can set it to theme, world, which is the light from world and theme. And if you set it to viewport, you can change to whatever color you prefer and combine it with the single, so you will get a really good result like that. So that's about it. Then we have the wire. We can press Z to access to all of these. So this pie menu is helpful. You can press Z. We go to wire, which is a lot faster than clicking right here. So you can go and click, but using hotkey is always faster. So we have wires, and this setting is, as we mentioned in the solid mode, we have wire colors. So you can set it to random, to object, and to just theme. So theme is, for me, it will work in good because it is a bit easier to see which of these I selected instead of object. So it is just a bit confusing. Then we have the same thing, viewport, and those other. So we have the X-ray. If you turn it on, you won't be, you are not able to see what is backside of these faces. So, but if you set it, the X-ray on, so you're able to see what is, how many wires we have at the background of those faces. Then outliner, you can just change the color of the outliner. You can see a bit changing around those. This is hard to see, but it will change. So let's move it up, and now you start to see. But let's turn those this one off. The next is the material preview, which is really good when we apply some material. We will see that in real time without being in render mode, because render mode is going to be really heavy. So it's good to be in material preview, which I will talk about that when I will add some material. For example, let's click here and add a material. I can click on new to create a new material. Then we can go and give that a nice color like this. We can go and add another color for this one in new. So here we create different material, and the white should be okay. Now we see in Viewport the materials in real time. So material preview is really fast. Even if you create a really big world, so it is just really fast. So yeah, the next is render mode. We can switch to render mode from here or there, and let's go to render mode. So when we switch to render mode, we actually let's turn these off, because lighting, when we click on these, it means that you have to use your own HDRI and your own light, which you added in Blender. But currently we have no lights, as you can see here in the outliner, and there is no light. So let's use Blender HDRI. Here we can see a preview of some HDRI which Blender have. For example, I choose this kind of HDRI. We can rotate those, okay, and the strength, which how much power would you give that. World opacity, in case if you would like to see. Now we are in orthographic mode. You can press 5 to see even the world opacity at the back. You can turn it off or on. Blurriness, you can set the blurriness to 0 or all the way up. And these are options, which is important. And you have the same thing here as well on the material preview. You can change the HDRI to whatever HDRI you like, and then you can play around with the world opacity and the strength, etc. So when we are in render mode, actually we need to select a render engine. So in case Eevee or Cycle. So Eevee, when we choose Eevee, we can use Bloom and ambient occlusion as well. Let's click here, and I would like to add a plane. So I press Shift A and add a plane, scale it. I would like to move it down, and let's turn it off. And I would like to see the ambient occlusion. If I click to turn it on and off, you would see a bit of ambient occlusion around these. So let's change HDRI to something else, because HDRI will affect So now let's play around with the ambient occlusion setting. Distance, factor, all of these. You can see around this area a bit cleaner how the ambient occlusion will affect without and without. And bloom as well. So I would like to talk about those and their place when I would like to take a render or so. The next is overlays. So here we have a lot of things, and currently we are in object mode. When I select one of these and we go to render mode, some of the things will be changed. For example, if I just select the face, sometime it will be changed, but the majority is the same. So for example, we have the floor. Let's delete this one, or let's hide it. Okay, you can hide things from here, or you can simply in viewport select that and press H, and it will do the same thing. For example, I hide it. Let's hide these two. Now I would like to bring them back. Instead of clicking each of these, you can press Alt and H, which is the hotkey you have to remember, because if you have 100 of these objects here, it is really hard to find the name of the icon, okay, to turn it on. So pressing Alt H will be unhide all the hidden objects. So let's hide the background. And now I would like to talk about these viewport overlays. We have floor, you can turn it on and off. Axis, you can turn or on those. The scale of the background, which is 1 meter, should be good. The subdivision and the text info is this text right here. It is helpful. And then we have the statistic. It shows how many vertex, edge, face, and triangles. If I select this object, it will show me this specific cube, how many vertex and edge and face and triangles has, and how many of these assets I have selected. So I selected 2 of those. You can see it is 2 of 4. So in here, which is available, we have 4. So one of those is hidden. If I unhide, you can see that it counts that as well. So all the unhidden object is 4, but we selected 1 of 4. So this is something that is helpful in some cases. Then we have 3D cursor. You can turn it on and off. You can see that here. And annotations. If I hold down Control and holding down D and left click, I can draw and make an annotation. You can turn it on or off. And you can go here to delete it. So let's delete that. Simply click on this note and click here to remove it. Okay, that's about it. Then we have other like extra or so. For example, if I add an empty, which we will use, the empty, you can change the shapes. We can change it to from these properties. We can change it to cone, whatever thing you like. Then we can click on extra to unhide all those extra except the meshes and so. And the rest is, for example, these origins is showing the origin of the selected object. For example, if I select this object, each object that I select, it will show the origin. You can click on to see all the origins. Now you can see even those which we doesn't have selected, we see their origins. Yeah, that's about it. Then we have wires. You can click on wireframe, play around with their opacity. How much of opacity would you like to give them? The wireframe, in this case, we can enter tab and right click, subdivide it. So this is just a test. Now I can play around with the amount of wireframe. If I just hold down shift and play around, it will unhide the rest of the wires. In case I think it is to be faster in viewport. Okay, so amount of wireframe it will control. And face orientation, which is important in the modeling, but let's talk about that. For example, I select one of these faces and I press Alt N to flip that. Now we will see where is that flipped face by turning on the face orientation. Or let's select another face. Instead of Alt N, we can go to face. And where is that? Face orientation. It should be there. Somewhere here. Yeah, it is in the normal. If I press Alt N, you can see it is in normal tab. So the normal tab is, I think, in the meshes. We can go to normals and find that, and we can flip or recalculate. So why these red colors? So this is important to fix those, because if you make 3D assets and you want to export it or import it in, for example, Unreal Engine or Unity, when the normal have been flipped like this, when you export it to that game engine, it won't show up this face. It is almost show like this. There is a gap, there is empty place. So because the texture has been invisible. Okay, so you have to select all, press Alt N, or simply go to here, but using hotkeys faster. And in this case, recalculate outside. It will fix all those for us with that click. Yeah, that's about it. And let's turn it off. Turn off this guy as well. And see you in the next.